You are now in tune to the most intriguing podcast in the universe. Hosted by the scientist Leon Marshall. Are you ready for Marshall's Melanin PODCLASS?
Listen, I am fully energized.
Class is in session.
You gonna learn today.
I found it really enlightening, like educational as well. There were a lot of things I didn't know, especially with melanin and like all the benefits of melanin. So I found that very interesting.
I love it. There's so much information, you know, it's entertaining and it's just facts after facts after facts.
This is the podcast where science is made simple and learning is fun. Welcome to Marshall's Melanin PODCLASS. Now, here's your host, the scientist Leon Marshall.
Yes. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. My name is Leon Marshall, and you're tuned into Marshall's Melanin PODCLASS. This is class 30. Big up everyone who's listening right now. Large up the people who are just joining us. Welcome, welcome. Big up the people in the chat. Let me know if you can hear me clearly, family. Put some ones in the chat if you can hear me clearly. Let's just make sure that the audio is nice and crisp for tonight. So put some ones in the chat. Let me know if you can hear me clearly. And let me know where you're tuned in from as well. Big up the family, the worldwide family. Yes. Yes, thank you. And thanks for joining me tonight. I truly appreciate it. Now remember, these PODCLASSes are more educational than anything else. That's why I've called it a PODCLASS as opposed to just a podcast. I do these on the first of each and every month, so don't miss them. And tonight's class is going to be about melanin and skin cancer. Does melanin really protect us from skin cancer? Let's find out. And as always, later I'm going to be opening up the floor so you guys can ask your questions, make your comments, or just tell me what's on your melanin mind. I don't mind what you say. Just be a part of tonight's class. Now I've created this podcast so we can all truly understand melanin once and for all. What it is and how it works. We must change the narrative around melanin if we are ever going to understand it. And that change happens right now, family. So let's go.
I've been to quite a few and I've heard Leon talk at other events, and as usual you do come away learning something.
Listen, I am fully energized.
That is brilliant. It's just so informative, mind-blowing. It's something that, you know, it's just put me on a journey of knowing thyself. It's just fantastic.
Big up Brooklyn in the building. Big up sis Monica. Large up Southwest London in the building. East London.
Feel like sun
Yeah.
on my skin. So this is love. I know it is. I know it sounds super cliche.
Big up everyone who's listening right now.
This is falling, falling in love.
Feels like sun on my skin. So it seems like every year we have to talk about this because every year there seems to be a little bit of propaganda with regards to the sun and skin cancer. Every year there's stories about, black people, you need to wear sunscreen because you can get skin cancer as well. And it seems like every year the message is getting louder, like black people's risk is increasing. Now, why would that be?
Feel like sun on my skin. So this is love. I know it is. I know it sounds super cliche, but you make me feel some type of way.
I wonder. So let's see if we can get to the bottom of this melanin and skin cancer mystery. Because as I've said many times on this podcast, it seems like every time we talk about melanin, there's mystery behind it. Like people don't really know what melanin does. Yeah, we're told it, quote unquote, protects us from the skin, protects us from the sun. But other than that, why else do we have melanin? That other part is never told to us. And it seems like every year there's a video that comes out where a black doctor or just black people in general are telling black people to protect themselves from the sun by wearing sunscreen. Because of the power of social media, because of the power of TikTok and Instagram and all these other social media platforms, it's easy to put out a video and then for it to go viral, telling black people to protect themselves from the sun. Yeah. But the question always arises, can we get skin cancer? Can black people get skin cancer? Now, when you go online, let's say you type that into Google or any search engine, you're going to be met with a whole heap of websites telling you what? Telling you one thing. All the websites say the same thing. They're unanimous with this. Can black people get skin cancer? Yes, black people can get skin cancer. And here's what's to look for. So this is from Healthline. So this is one of the many websites, whether it's health websites or scientific websites, that you'll be met with when you search this thing. So you're someone who doesn't really know about melanin and you're searching, you've heard about melanin protects you from the sun, but yet you've seen a TikTok video saying black people can get skin cancer, black people, you need to put on sunscreen. So then you do your research and you see articles like this. Yes, black people can get skin cancer. Here's what to look for. So let's check out what this article is saying. And if you look on the right there, it shows you who wrote it. So on the right, it says medically reviewed by Susan Bart. So it was medically reviewed by a white PhD, like a doctor. So this should be accurate information. So it says, can black people get skin cancer? Yes, black people can develop skin cancer. This is because they can be exposed to the same environmental risk factors, such as ultraviolet UV rays, as people of other races or ethnicities. So again, they're saying, yes, black people, you need to be aware of the ultraviolet rays. And we've talked about the ultraviolet rays on this podcast many times, how every time they talk about the sun and the ultraviolet rays, it's always the harmful ultraviolet rays, the harmful ultraviolet rays. And I've mentioned on this podcast and in my book, The Hidden Science of Melanin, that there are many benefits that come with ultraviolet radiation that they don't mention. Why do they not mention the many benefits that come with ultraviolet radiation? Anyway, continuing on, it says, overall, skin cancer is less common in black people. Data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, found that in 2018, the most recent data we have available, one case of melanoma occurred per 100,000 black people. One case per 100,000 black people. Interesting. Compared with 25 cases per 100,000 white people. That is a huge difference, family. That is a massive difference. One case per 100,000 people for black people, and then 25 cases per 100,000 white people. That's a huge difference. Now, that would make you come to the obvious conclusion that obviously, when it comes onto skin cancer, white people are more likely to get skin cancer. Now, riddle me this. Anyone, put a link in the chat where you've read online anywhere some type of article or some type of headline that says white people are more likely to die from skin cancer, or white people are more likely to get skin cancer. Notice how they don't put white people are more likely to headlines in the news. It's always black people are more likely to. Now, I find this very interesting. You always got to the language when you're trying to understand science. They go on to say, why is skin cancer less common in Black people? Why is it less common? So again, the emphasis is on Black people. Why ain't Black people getting skin cancer like white people? Instead of focusing on why white people are getting it more, it's always the focus on us. So because we get it less, they can't go with the narrative of Black people are more likely to, which they love to run with, the more likely to narrative. They run with that a hell of a lot in America. They run with that a hell of a lot over here. The Black people are more likely to narrative. So here, because we're not more likely to, they go the opposite direction. Why is skin cancer less common in Black people? In other words, how come Black people ain't getting this disease that white people are getting? It says, to understand why skin cancer is less common in Black people, it's important to understand a little skin biology. That makes sense. If we're talking about skin biology, we must be talking about melanin. So it says, normally all skin contains a pigment called melanin. However, compared with white skin, Black skin has a higher amount of melanin. Yep, so far so good. Higher amounts of melanin absorb or reflect more UV rays from the sun. Now, this is why I truly believe that my book is very important, because what happens when you don't understand melanin, and therefore you don't understand the science and scientific terminology, they can put a lie between two truths and hide the lie, and then you'll run with the lie because what they said before it was truthful. Maybe even what they said after it was truthful. So that's why a mentor of mine used to say, when you're studying science, you got to pick the sense from the nonsense. Pick the sense from the nonsense. So that last paragraph, they say higher amounts of melanin absorb or reflect more UV rays. No, melanin absorbs UV rays. Yeah, it doesn't reflect. Melanin absorbs, it doesn't reflect. Melanin absorbs light, it doesn't reflect light. We need to understand that. And that's actually what protects us from the sun, the fact that it absorbs the light and then dissipates the light as heat. So it's not as intense once we absorb it. So that's how we get protected from the sun, when melanin absorbs. Melanin doesn't block light, it doesn't reflect light, it absorbs it. But here it says higher amounts of melanin absorb or reflect more UV rays from the sun, helping to better protect skin cells from harm. This level of protection isn't present in white skin, making it more vulnerable to damage from UV rays. Now, here's one of those videos that gets circulated every year. Every year there's a video like this. They'll just use a different Black person, and this Black person, I think, is a dermatologist or some type of doctor, probably a dermatologist. But her question is, should Black people wear sunscreen? And again, every year, without fail, a video like this goes viral or goes around on social media, and people end up tagging me in the video or sending it to me and telling me, what do you think? Well, let's hear what the lady has to say. Now, before we go into this video, I don't show these videos to embarrass or bash the doctors, the Black doctors who are telling Black people to wear sunscreen. I'm just trying to see if they're telling the truth. And where they're not telling the truth, I will point it out with evidence. So let's see what this medical professional says about Black people wearing sunscreen. Listen carefully.
Should Black people wear sunscreen? Let's get into it. The first thing to say is that absolutely anyone of any skin tone and any race can get skin cancer. It's also really important to say that when a white person gets diagnosed with a melanoma, the 5-year survival rate is 94%, but when a Black person gets melanoma, the 5-year survival is only 70%.
All right, so let's stop it there. She said that anyone can get skin cancer. This is true. Any race, any color can get skin cancer. But then she said, when you get it, the survival rate from it. So if you get it, the survival rate is higher for white people than it is for Black people. Now, again, the common sense question would be why? If a Black person gets skin cancer and a white person gets skin cancer, shouldn't they receive the same sort of treatment? In other words, shouldn't they both survive at the same sort of rate? According to the evidence, No. Now, why would that be?
The 5-year survival rate is 94%, but when a black person gets melanoma, the 5-year survival is only 70%. But I must caveat all of this by saying that UV light actually doesn't play much of a role in causing skin cancer in black people. So in essence, wearing sunscreen doesn't necessarily prevent black people from getting skin cancer. But
Now, what I love about what she just said is she said it fast, so people didn't catch it. So there's a lot of people that, because I got tagged in this video online. When I got tagged in it, I was reading the comments and people were like, yeah, I can't believe black people are not wearing sunscreen. Listen to this professional. Of course, we're supposed to be putting on sunscreen. We need to protect us. But they missed this very vital point that she just made. And she says it fast, but listen again to what she says. Listen carefully to what she says.
But I must caveat all of this by saying that UV light actually doesn't play much of a role in causing skin cancer in black people. So in essence, wearing sunscreen doesn't necessarily prevent black people from getting skin cancer.
She said UV light doesn't cause skin cancer in black people. So once you hear that, her question is answered. Should black people be wearing sunscreen? Well, why would you be wearing sunscreen? Oh, because of the harmful ultraviolet radiation that's causing skin cancer. Well, according to this professional, it's not the harmful UV rays that causes skin cancer in black people. She says it fast. That's why a lot of people miss it, but let's go back one more time.
20%. But I must caveat all of this by saying that UV light actually doesn't play much of a role in causing skin cancer in black people. So in essence, wearing sunscreen doesn't necessarily prevent black people from getting skin cancer. But black people can still get sunburnt, and sunscreen will help prevent that. Secondly, many of us are trying to fight hyperpigmentation, and if you're not wearing sunscreen, your dark marks are just not going to fade. You're playing yourself. And thirdly, sunscreen is one of the most important things you can do to prevent the signs of aging. So if you're trying to keep your skin looking young, you definitely want to be wearing sunscreen every single day.
Okay, so she ends by saying you definitely want to be wearing sunscreen every single day, even though it's not going to protect you from skin cancer. Right. Okay, so again, I'm not even going to break that down. I'm just going by what she said. She said, should black people be wearing sunscreen? Well, everyone gets skin cancer, but the skin cancer that black people get is not caused by the sun. So then why would we put on sunscreen? Interesting. Now, again, if you go by my definition of science, I always say that science is simple. It's logic backed up by evidence. So if you listen to something and it sounds logical, it sounds like common sense, or even if it doesn't, you don't even come to a conclusion until you can back up what you think with evidence. So let's see what the evidence is to what she just said. Now, I'm going back to that Healthline article, but you can go to a lot of articles online and read what they say about skin cancer in black people. Yeah. And again, when you're reading these articles, when you're reading stuff online, especially when it comes to us, got to try and pick the sense from the nonsense. So going back to that Healthline article, it says, what causes skin cancer in black people? In general, skin cancer is caused by genetic changes that occur in the DNA of our cells. Sometimes these changes can be harmful, causing cells to begin to grow and divide out of control. UV radiation from the sun can cause damage to DNA. Because of this, frequent exposure to UV rays in the form of sunlight or UV lamps is associated with an increased risk of skin cancer. Now, here's the part where you have to pick the sense from the nonsense. However, not all types of skin cancer may be linked to sun exposure. Indeed, some skin cancers in black people occur in areas that aren't exposed to much sunlight, such as the soles of the feet, palms of the hands, and nails. This type of skin cancer is called acral sentiginous melanoma, or ALM, acral sentiginous melanoma, ALM. Now, put a yes in the chat if you've heard of ALM before. If you've heard of this type of skin cancer, this type of melanoma, put a yes in the chat. Some dermatologists have reported that ALM makes up 30 to 70% of melanomas seen in people of color visiting their practice. Now, so this backs up what the sis was saying in the video, that the cancer in black people is not, the skin cancer in black people is not actually caused by ultraviolet radiation. It's caused by this thing called ALM, acral lentiginous melanoma, and it appears in places that don't even, generally speaking, are not exposed to the sun. So the bottom of your foot, or in the palm of your hand, or your nails. These are areas that are not necessarily exposed to the sun, but yet these are the parts of the body that gets that skin cancer occurs in Black people. Interesting. So why is this happening then? This is very different from the narrative that we need to protect ourselves from the sun by putting on sunscreen. If it's not due to the sun, then what is it due to? Now, look at what it says right there. Doctors don't yet know what causes ALM. Oh no, here we go again. Now, anytime you're reading about science, especially family, listen to me carefully, especially when it comes on to us and they say they are not sure, or they don't know, or it's a mystery. Understand, anytime you hear that sort of terminology, that is code for melanin and code for we're just not telling you. Yeah, because these people study everything. They study everything to a T. They want to know how everything works. So if there's a disease and it's come out of nowhere or whatever, like the pandemic, they want to know everything about it. So look at that. Even during the pandemic, there was this new disease that came out of nowhere. And then twos within a year, oh, we know everything about it and we've got the solution. The solution is vaccines. And we've got the solution. We know everything about it. This is a brand new disease. How can you know everything about it already? So they study everything. So when they say, oh, we're not sure why Black people get ALM, that means the total opposite. That means we know exactly what it is. We're just not telling you. And it's probably due to something we're doing in a laboratory. Trying to tell me there's a skin cancer that only Black people get and doctors don't know why we get it. Come on. So yeah, it says doctors don't yet know what causes ALM. However, it's believed that genetic factors may play a role. Interesting. Very, very interesting. And check this out. Before I go any further, let me see. Before I go any further, let me show you something. I'm going to go to the Cancer Research UK website. So I'm going to go straight to the Cancer Research UK website. Let me see if I can share this with the family right now and show you something. All right. Hopefully everyone can see that. This is the Cancer Research UK website. Actually, let me keep this up and go back to it in a second, because there's some very important stuff on this. For example, this page says risks and causes of skin cancer. So it says that age, the older you are, the more likely you are to develop non-melanoma skin cancer, but skin cancers can develop in younger people too. Sun exposure, obviously they talk about sun exposure, yeah. And obviously previous skin cancer, family history of skin cancer, skin conditions can lead to skin cancer. So they're going through all the reasons why you can develop skin cancer, yeah. All right, keep that in mind as we go back. Hold on a second. So keep that in mind as we go back to the slides. That page is telling us all the things that can cause skin cancer. All the things that can cause skin cancer. All right. So here, we're going back to the Healthline article now. The Healthline article said that doctors don't know what causes ALM. So I tried to do some research online. So I typed into my search engine, what causes ALM? What causes acral lentiginous melanoma? And this is the result that I got. Yeah. And this is from Medical News Today. It says ALM is a rare type of skin cancer that develops on the palms of the hands, the soles of the feet, or under the nails. Unlike other forms of melanoma, ALM is not associated with excess sun exposure and is believed to be linked to pressure, friction, irritation, and trauma to the area. So again, this type of cancer is not caused by sun exposure. It says genetic mutations are believed to contribute to the development of ALM. The main sign of ALM is a black or brown discoloration that appears on the sole of the feet or palm of the hand. ALM is not common in the general population, but is the most common form of skin cancer affecting African Americans. Why? Why? That is the ultimate question when you're trying to understand science. Every time they say black people are more likely to get something, more likely to die from something. Why, man? Can't you just explain why? Never explain why. They can never explain why. Yeah. Now check this out. Put in the chat someone we all know who died from ALM, which is acral lentiginous melanoma. Who do we know? What famous black person died from this disease? Think about how it's caught. Think about where it's caught, where it appears on the body. Someone in the chat, just name one famous person who died from ALM. Yeah. Bob Marley. So Bob Marley died from acral lentiginous melanoma, a rare type of skin cancer that affects hairless areas of the skin, such as under nails, palms, and soles of feet. He first discovered melanoma while playing football in 1977, and it spread from under the nail of his toe. ALM is genetically distinct from other, more common types of skin cancer, and it is the least common subtype of melanoma diagnosed overall, accounting for only 2 to 3% of all melanoma diagnoses. People with very fair skin are the ones most at risk. Interesting. And then it goes on to say that ALM, acral lentiginous melanoma, is not believed to be caused by sun exposure and occurs in areas not typically exposed to the sun. So again, when it comes on to us, enough mystery. Anytime they say that they don't know, there's mystery behind it. So Bob Marley died from ALM, this mysterious skin cancer that's not caused by the sun. This mysterious skin cancer that's not caused by the sun. Why don't people run with that story when the age-old question of should black people be wearing sunscreen comes out every summertime? Should black people be wearing sunscreen? Well, we all know by now that skin cancer is not caused by the sun in black people. Or, like it said there in the Healthline, it's hardly one in, what did they say? 1 in 100,000 black people get that type of skin cancer. And then of those 1 in 100,000, about 70% of those cases are ALM. So 30% maybe are the other type of skin cancer. So it's a very low number of black people get the skin cancer that is caused by the sun. An extremely low number. But I know what some of you may be thinking, especially if this is your first time watching this podcast or listening to this podcast. Well, shouldn't we protect ourselves anyway? Even though we have a low case or a low risk of getting the type of skin cancer that's caused by the sun, shouldn't we still protect ourselves? Now, what are you going to protect yourself with? Sunscreen? I've mentioned in previous podcasts that through my research, and again, you guys can do your own research. I always tell people, don't believe a word I say. We've all got smartphones. Make your phone smart. Through my research, 30%, up to 30% of the sunscreens that are on the market have cancer-causing chemicals in them. So this was a story from years ago. It says active ingredient in sunscreen could cause cancer. This one was from the Mail Online. This was a couple years ago. It says chemicals in sunscreen are absorbed into your blood at concentrations up to 419 times above what is safe to avoid cancer. How ironic is that? So you're putting on this sunscreen to protect yourself from skin cancer. And the chemicals, the ingredients that are in the sunscreen could actually cause cancer. Science is simple, right? 2 + 2. I wonder. These sunscreens are quite dangerous, and nearly 30% of them have these cancer-causing chemicals. Surely something should be done about that. This is a very famous doctor online, and he shared, this was a couple years ago, he shared a story saying that Johnson and Johnson had to they had to recall some of their products because they found cancer-causing chemicals detected in them. Yeah. But this is how strong the propaganda is. Even though this doctor is sharing the article where they say Johnson and Johnson had to take their products off the market because they had cancer-causing chemicals in them. Look what his caption says. As the weather warms up, don't forget to wear your sunscreen. So even though these products have cancer-causing chemicals in them, make sure you wear your sunscreen. Yeah. Now, this is why I wanted to go to the cancer research website. So let me just quickly come out of this and go to the cancer research website, because what do they say causes skin cancer? So let's go back to the Cancer Research UK website. So they say that these things cause skin cancer. We went over age, sun exposure, previous skin cancer, family history of skin cancer, skin conditions, some syndrome, Gorlin syndrome can cause skin cancer. Past radiation exposure can cause skin cancer. Interesting. Weakened immune system can cause skin cancer. Interesting. Weakened immune system. I wonder what's weakened our immune system over the last couple of years. And then a virus can cause skin cancer. Human papilloma virus, HPV, which a lot of people have. And this can lie dormant. This can cause skin cancer. Chemicals. So a lot of chemicals that are in our environment. Notice that the sun is only one of these factors, but all these other factors can cause skin cancer. Other possible factors. Let's click on that and see if there's any other possible factors. All right. Around 4 in 10 cancers could be prevented by things such as not smoking, keeping a healthy weight, and cutting back on alcohol. All right. So notice that a lot of these things are not to do with the sun. So when we talk about skin cancer, everyone starts to finger wag the sun. But even on their website, they talk about all of these other things that cause skin cancer. Yeah. And then check this out. This says, new analysis reveals Black women in England are more likely to be diagnosed with late-stage cancer. There they go with the more likely to narrative again. Again, Cancer Research UK, more likely to narrative. Yeah. And this is why anytime we're reading this stuff online, we truly need to be able to pick the sense from the nonsense. All right. Now, just to be clear, I'm not saying to Black people not to wear sunscreen. So I just want to make that clear, because a lot of times when we do this, there's that should we, shouldn't we sort of debate online. And my thing is, do whatever you feel is best. I truly believe that people make the best decisions when they're given accurate information. So I try to just share the accurate information and then make people make a decision based on that, because I'm not going to be the one who's going to be finger wagging to people when they may decide something that might be detrimental to their health in the long run. Because I know a lot of Black people that wear sunscreen. They're healthy, they're in perfect health. That doesn't necessarily mean that they'll be in perfect health if they continue to wear sunscreen. And it doesn't mean that their health may be detrimental or their health may be affected in some way if they continue. My thing is, do you know the information, the accurate information around sunscreen? If the answer is yes, and you continue to wear it, then that's on you. That's on you. The same way I'm not going to stop any Black person from eating, I don't know, McDonald's and Burger King. If someone ate McDonald's and Burger King, especially if it's just the 1 or 2 burgers over the course of a year, that's not going to affect their health. If they then continue to eat McDonald's and Burger King over many years, then obviously that's going to affect their health. Well, it's the same with these sort of things. If you're using something that has cancer-causing ingredients in it, and then you're using it over the course of many, many years, there shouldn't be a surprise if 2 2s you're 45 and the doctor diagnoses you with some type of cancer. You've been putting on cancer-causing chemicals for 10, 15, 20 years. So that's my thing when it comes to this. We just need to be aware of the accurate information. So my question here says, should we trust these health websites that tell us about melanin? Going back to this website, it says, understanding the benefits of melanin. And it says, melanin is the pigment that is responsible for our beautiful variety of skin tones and shades, eye colors, and hair colors. This is true. Then it says, however, when we discuss melanin, that discussion rarely includes its actual biological benefits. Now, family, when I read that part, I was like, oh my gosh, that's the reason why I wrote my book. Yeah, because look what it says after that. It says, not only does melanin provide pigmentation for human skin, hair, and eyes, it also provides protection against harmful effects of ultraviolet rays. We're told that over and over again. Melanin is the reason why you've got color in your hair, eyes, and skin. We understand that. Melanin protects you from ultraviolet rays. We understand that. But what about the other biological benefits? So in this article, it says, we'll dive into what melanin is, why melanin is so important for the skin, and how various factors can influence how much melanin you have. So I was like, okay, are they actually going to tell us about the other benefits? Because that's why I wrote my book. Everyone, when you tell them what's melanin and what does melanin do, oh, it gives you the color of your eyes, your skin, your hair, and it protects us from the sun. Okay, what else does it do? Silence. Like, that's the only thing that we have melanin. That's the only reason why we have melanin. So I was hoping that this would go into more benefits. Let's see if it does. And this is the reason why I wrote my book, so everyone could understand the other benefits, the other things that melanin does. So let's go back to the article. What is melanin? Melanin is a type of complex pigment that in humans is responsible for producing the pigmentation in our hair, skin, and eyes. Okay, we know that part. Tell us something we don't know. Although melanin is usually discussed as a single pigment, there are two types of melanin that contribute to pigmentation in the hair, skin, and eyes of humans and animals: eumelanin and pheomelanin. Now, if you have my book or you've been listening to the podcast, this is not new information either. You know this. Eumelanin is the pigment associated with dark tones such as black and brown, and pheomelanin is the pigment associated with, it says there, alternate hues such as red and yellow. And then it says a third type of melanin called neuromelanin exists within the human brain and gives pigment to the structures in this area. Okay, so it's told us about the different types of melanin. What are the benefits other than the obvious hair, skin, and eyes, and protects us from the sun? What are the other benefits? So it says, in addition to providing pigmentation in humans and animals, melanin also plays an important biological role by providing protection against damage from the sun. So now they're repeating themselves. We know about this part. And it says protection against UV light, and it goes into how it protects us from UV light. And then they talk about how melanin is an antioxidant. So reactive oxygen species scavenger. Melanin also demonstrates antioxidant activity by scavenging for reactive oxygen species produced via UV light damage. So both of these are just telling us that melanin protects us from ultraviolet light. Where's the new information? Where's the new information? Where's the other benefits? Now listen to how they conclude this article. It says, it is believed that there may be other mechanisms of action for melanin within the body, such as protection of the liver, intestines, and even the immune system. However, research on these potential benefits is scarce. So pigmentation and photoprotection, in other words, protection from the sun, remain the two primary benefits of melanin for humans. So there you have it. Even though they know that melanin does many other things in the body other than give us color, and protects us from the sun, they say that research on these potential benefits, because they're not even saying that they're factual. They're saying, oh, well, there may be other things that melanin does, but the research on this is scarce. Research on melanin is not scarce at all. Dr. Leila Africa even told us years ago that every year they do this melanin conference where they'll invite like the top scientists all over the world from all different parts of the world to come to this melanin conference to speak about what they found with regards to their research on melanin. And you'll never see a black doctor there or a black scientist there. They invite everyone to this secretive melanin conference every year to find out what's the newest research on melanin. But yeah, we're not there, which I find hilarious. Yeah. And again, Dr. Leila Africa told us about this. So when they say research on melanin is scarce, they're not telling the truth. Yeah. And speaking of Dr. Leila Africa, it was him that told me how to really define melanin. I've showed this video before, but I'm going to show it again because I want anytime people to say what is melanin, I want them to say this. And this is the book. By the way, people, my book is still available on Amazon. So go and get that book if you want to learn the other benefits of melanin other than the ones that they tell us on these websites and in your school, college, or university. But yeah, listen to this clip where Dr. Leila Africa breaks down what melanin is. Yeah, listen to how clear and concise he is when he's breaking down what melanin is.
Melanin is the chemical key to life. There is nothing else to study in science but melanin.
That's all you need to know. Literally, that's all you need to know. Next time someone says, what is melanin? Tell them this.
Melanin is the chemical key to life. There is nothing else to study in science but melanin. We call it chemi, which means black. The people who study melanin particles call what they're studying, the scientists call chemistry, what you call chemistry, the study of melanin particles that go around in an orbit, and we call them electrons, protons, solitons. Those are melanin particles. That's why we call it chemistry. And the country you come from is called Kemet, which some people call Egypt. There's nothing else to study but melanin. And if you study chemistry or heard of chemistry and haven't heard the word melanin, you have just been studying social science.
There you go. All right. Let me open up the floor. If anyone wants to ask a question or make a comment, by all means, please do. This is one of the things where this subject here, it will come up every year. By the way, yeah, if you want to ask a question, just raise your hand and then I'll come to you and I'll be able to click on your name and allow you to talk. So if you have a question or a comment with regards to melanin and skin cancer or sunscreen or the sun, anything like that, especially if you're new to this platform, because every time people hear this for the first time, they're like, wow, I've never heard that before. But yeah, this subject comes up every year. Every year, there's going to be some type of video that gets circulated by black people saying that you need to protect yourself from the sun. Come on, black people, we need to protect ourselves from the sun. And again, just to be clear, I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm saying you should just know the truth. Once you know the truth, you can make an educated decision. So if you understand that 1/3 of those products may cause you cancer, then you got to try and look for the products, the 2/3 that don't, if you're going to put on sunscreen and protect yourself from the sun. There's no point putting on sunscreen to protect yourself from a cancer, skin cancer, then what you're actually putting on your skin is causing cancer. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So I'm hoping that people understand this and people share this video when we put the replay up. Yeah, because trust me, every year without fail, come summertime, someone wants to tag me in a video online and be like, they're telling, or someone will be in a WhatsApp group or something, and they'll be like, oh, I'm in a WhatsApp group, Leon, and they're saying that black people should be putting on sunscreen. What shall I say to them? And I say to them, I always say to those people, Like how my grandma used to say to me, go on now. If they want to wear sunscreen, go on now. Why are you trying to stop them? No, I'm wrong. Let them do that. It's like saying to me, there's black people walking into Burger King, Leon. What shall I tell them? Go on now. Let them have some Burger King if they want Burger King. People can make decisions on their own, man. As long as like everyone knows that Burger King is not the greatest food, not the most nutritious food, but they eat it anyway. That's on them. So when it comes onto this sunscreen thing, it is on them if they want to wear it. It's not going to cause cancer the first time they put it on, that's for sure. But if they continue to put on this cancer-causing chemical on their skin, and again, it's not all of the products that are on the market, but through my research, I've found that at least 30%, nearly 1/3 of the products that are on the market, nearly 1/3, can you imagine, cause skin cancer? Do you know how high that number is? If there was a product that was killing white people and nearly 1/3 of those products were on the market, do you know how quickly they'd remove all of those products? They'd remove them so quickly. Or would they? These days, it's like they don't mind people dying, regardless of color. All right, family. You know, I like to keep these short and sweet. So if there's no questions, we're going to wrap up. And by the way, I just want to mention that I might, and let me see what the family think of this actually. I might start doing these podclasses live on YouTube. Now, why would I go onto YouTube? Ever since I've started these podclasses, I've been, even these ones, which are not on YouTube, have been getting blocked. They've been getting shadow banned. They've been messing with our Zoom. So loads of people would sign up to it, and then we get not even 1/3 of the people that would actually log into it. And then I'd get emails saying, oh, I was clicking on the link and I couldn't get in, and this, that, and the other. And then when we would upload the video, sometimes the video would get blocked or taken down. I'll let you put 2 and 2 together as to why we went through so many issues with Zoom. And this is since 2020 when we started the podcast. So since 2020, they've been doing what they do. Yeah. But I'm starting to notice that a lot of people are talking that talk on YouTube. And when I say talking that talk, I mean talking things that a couple of years ago they were getting blocked for. So obviously you still have to mind what you say when you're on YouTube. But if I'm going to get blocked and shadow banned and all that sort of stuff, why not then just use YouTube anyway? Because the difference is using YouTube is free. We pay for this service. We pay for Zoom. So why pay for something when they're going to block you, shadow ban you, and mess with your numbers and that sort of stuff when I could do it for free and get the same treatment? Go onto YouTube and get the same treatment, but for free. So just to let the family know, this might be the last one on Zoom. This might be the last one on Zoom. And next month we might move to YouTube. Yeah. Because using Zoom and paying these people, but yet we're getting blocked. The people trying to log in are getting blocked, especially new people. Like, big up the regulars that tune in every month, but new people, they'll log in 1 month and then next month they'll be like, I clicked on the link, it didn't work. So I'm like, what's going on? So yeah, if I'm going to get that treatment, why not just get that treatment on YouTube? At least I'm not paying for it. You know what I mean? So yeah, just to let the family know, this might be the last one on Zoom. Yeah. And by the way, VIP members, we will have another course potentially before the end of this year. And that one, maybe not on Zoom, but that one will probably use Vimeo. So we've still got Vimeo as a platform that we can use for our courses, our online courses. But yeah, I'll see what the family says with regards to Zoom, but I don't think I can continue to pay for something when all they do is try and shut us down, especially family, especially now where the propaganda is going to go through the roof with regards to the winter. because during the summertime, it's hard to create fear in people with regards to their health when they're out in the sun enjoying themselves, especially when they're absorbing enough sunlight for vitamin D. But you see, once we stop receiving that vitamin D, family, that is when we start to get sick. So every year during the winter, especially during December, they call it the flu season for a reason. People start to get the flu, people start to get the cold and all that sort of stuff. Something that vitamin D would have protected us from, we are now not protected. So we start to get viruses and infections and all that sort of stuff. And as you know, I don't need to spell it out for you, but as you know, there will be a lot of propaganda around this. So if you catch something and you just think it's the cold, you go online and all the news outlets are telling you it's not just the cold, you've got that thing, you know, new variant or wherever it is. Yeah. So more than ever, we need to understand how to pick the sense from the nonsense when we're listening to things and when we're reading things. And I truly believe my book will help with that with regards to melanin. All right, family. Thank you all for staying right to the end. I truly appreciate you guys. And yes, if you are a member of our WhatsApp, our WhatsApp groups, then you will be notified as of the next podcast being on YouTube. Large up the regulars for tuning in every week. So we got to podcast 30 on Zoom. So things are going to change after today. So big up the family for tuning in. It's always love, family. And yes, if you do not have the book, it's still available on Amazon. Go purchase that. And you can always contact me if you have any questions with regards to melanin. So one love, family. Take care and enjoy the rest of your week. Genius.
Wow.
Thanks for listening to Marshall's Melanin Podcast. To download this episode, go to thehiddenscienceacademy.com/podclass. Be sure to catch the next class on the 1st of the month. And if you like this one, please share it with your friends and family. If you're on Instagram, you can follow Leon Marshall at The Scientist Online. And remember, keep shining.
the winner.